I am back. I just reviewed the last chapter, and I'm about to review, or yeah, just review. No two re's. I'm about to review the tips, specifically from the scrapbook from Takano, of her observations of Hinamizawa and Oyashiro-sama's curse, to see if there's anything like any new connections we can make. Autofocus off. Okay. For my snack today, I'll be having Kit Kats that were in the freezer and they melted. Not melted, they got to room temperature again. But one of them got melted a previous day because I was going to eat it and then I just never unwrapped it and I fell asleep next to it, so it like, yeah. They're milk tea, not like the Asian milk tea, like the English milk tea, but it's still good. Oh god, it's so fucked up from being melted. There's chocolate all over my desk now. And yes, I did just eat the Kit Kat whole. Mostly because it wasn't gonna be worth it anyways to break it apart. Today's plans did not go correctly. Wanted to take content, but I was just like, it just didn't happen, so for various mental health reasons. So we're gonna try tomorrow. But yeah. Luckily, I am fine. Alright. Alright, so this is from Scrapbook 1. Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onigafuchi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere that what eventually happens and what sort of divine judgment curse befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. Conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onigafuchi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry, and in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Okay. Scrapbook 2. The human sacrifice ritual. Sacrificial ritual was a simple drowning involving plunging sacrifices into Onigafuchi Swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of Onigafuchi Village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe this wasn't so much the killing of this sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. Also, new water bottle, because I lost my other one in California. But I'm glad I waited to use my cute Batsumaru and Gudetama stickers, so that way I wouldn't have lost those along with it, so... Whenever I get nice things, I just kind of hoard them for a little while instead of using them right away. It's a very strange behavior of mine, but it worked out in this sense, in this instance. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Also, got a new skirt, my first maxi skirt. I thought it wasn't my style, but I don't know. I always thought they were cute, and yeah, I saw one that I liked, so. Okay. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft, then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. That's why she went looking for it. Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now some of them are enshrined on the property of Furude Shrine and the Three Families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onigafuchi Village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were they lost as well, or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the feast of Onikakushi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here, today, at this very moment, in Hinamizawa. Also, I am nearly certain where they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming soon. Soon it will be Watanagashi. Might as well read these ones. Rabble. Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until tomorrow morning, until the very end of it all. Got it? Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. Alright then, youth is the greatest. Good work, everyone. Tomorrow is Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye in and save our energy for tomorrow night. Tomorrow is finally Watanagashi. Festivals are split into 2 groups. Those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans and preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, will be strained the whole way through. Why? You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything's over is the best damn beer you'll ever have. At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you do your best until the very end. If you didn't do your best until the very end, enjoying it the whole way. I'm wondering, from the thumbnail of like the environment that this is supposed to take place in, it kind of looked like it was the police station, but I'm thinking it's from the villager's perspective. Oh, no, it is. Oh, he's here. Oishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up. Hello, everyone. Excellent work out there. You can be at ease. Thank you, sir. Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Oishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kurado Oishi, a detective just waiting to retire, one who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations and doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he was surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him. Everyone, I really, really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival tomorrow. Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions. We're on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening. Yes, sir. Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will in fact occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year, too, someone will die and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it. Everyone, apart from the section chief, smiled painfully. Oishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this. The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly, and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip all the skin off the ghost of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Okay. Scrapbook 4. Wananagashi. The rite of Wananagashi is performed during a village festival every June, even now, but reading back to its origin turns up a seriously Sanjuin ceremony. Originally, Wananagashi would happen at fixed intervals, and after receiving Oyashiro-sama's trust, they chose a sacrifice. Then the entire village would kidnap, demon away, the person, and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determine the intervals are shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's a theory that it was determined based on astrological fortune-telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of ancient Onigafuchi village firmly believed that they were half-man, half-demon transcendents, and that they were more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Wananagashi was a political event for the purpose either being an outlet for, or outright diverting the attention of, the villagers of the isolated Onigafuchi village, in case any of their complaints or dissatisfactions grew serious. If that was the main reason these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. Okay. It's weird that Wananagashi basically didn't happen every single, or it didn't just happen every single year, it happened multiple times a year. The alleged importance of the implements, I can't find anything that gives a concrete description of what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and there definitely existed a multitude of different kinds. One source states that the implements used in the Wananagashi rite alone numbered 200. The obvious question then is why they required such a myriad of them. Rite of the Wananagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them, and eat them. I believe the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, tools evolve in such a way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you've reached the ultimate goal, that is, attained a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops there. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching for the next goal, they would split into many different subtypes. Okay. The three families of old would develop one new implement after another, and each was varied and attracted. Okay. So, like, they're sadistic freaks. That's why there's so many. I'm gonna go ahead and get through the rest of these. Significance of Wananagashi. The feast was an obligatory viewing, it said. This is an extremely curious tale. Till now, I thought that the residents of Onigafuchi village were fascinated by the Wananagashi ritual. They looked down on those vulgar barbaric humans, cut them open like fish, and by eating them, they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least that's what I thought. However, if what the villagers gained from this ritual was not fascination, but fear, then that would suggest the ritual meant something entirely different. There's the possibility that the executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to strictly follow religious precepts created by those with power for their own convenience. Okay. I think there's like a couple more after this. Yep, so Kimiyoshi family, like, the mayor is Old Man Kimiyoshi, but it's really Sonozaki that has the real power in terms of, like, enforcement of things. Furude family is the religious power holder. Family branched off after the war. Main house consists of one daughter, so the lineage may end in this generation. It's said that the family had a certain police-like role of protecting the religious precepts of Onigafuchi village. I kind of forget the late night phone call a little bit. Okay, so Kimiyoshi called. Okay, yeah, the younger Kimiyoshi. Mion's acting really weird in this. I'm thinking Mion has something to do with Kimiyoshi going missing. Three families in modern times. Three Families Council today is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it is a dictatorship run by the Sonozaki family. Both the Kimiyoshi and Furude families are far from their former glory, and it doesn't seem at all like they've maintained the ancient traditions. Only the Sonozaki family has retained their glory from the past and has inherited many colorful traditions from the age known as Onigafuchi village. Even the most recent verifiable example of Watanagashi that occurred at the end of the Meiji era seems to have been done under the orders of the Sonozaki family. Okay, they wanted to develop it. Kimiyoshi family served as chair of the opposition alliance for the dam resistance. This was in name only. In actuality, the Sonozaki family reigned as leader. Dictated absolute. Additionally, they say that perhaps the Sonozaki family's secret maneuvering was responsible for the serial freak death incidents that have continuously occurred in recent years as well. Whenever I see freak, like, accident or freak death or whatever, I always think of either mind freak or freakazoid. Yep. Their punishment isn't over. I like these ones at the ramen bar. I forget what that's called. The, like, set up, like, restaurant. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos on that. People who... Oh my god. I'm gonna look it up because now I'm curious. Okay, it's thinking of something else. It's thinking of the bamboo shoot things where you wash the ramen and you eat the ramen cold. That's not what I'm looking for. Whatever. That's fine. No, don't worry about it. You see, when you order the Odin here, for some reason it ends up on the annual invoice for our gas contracts, so don't be shy and have another drink. The man, red-faced, waved his hand to say that he'd had enough and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in front of the station. Kuma-chan, you should be taking notes. The most modest people are the ones who live the longest. Was all that true? Well, I don't know about that. Whether or not it's true, I think there's some meaning in hearing something that sounds so plausible. Would something like that be a motive to go for the mayor? Kuma-chan, here's what I always say. The motive only has to be enough for the person in question. You need to think about how different people value different things. Hey bartender, give me another. Though we have been suppressing the information, Tomitake and Takano-san's deaths were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All of the rumors pointed to them having incurred the wrath of Oyashiro-sama for setting foot in the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse for ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were two other people who went in there with them, Shion Sonozaki and Keiji Maebara. People were whispering in the shadows that those two would be cursed by Oyashiro-sama as well. However, apparently, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the four trespassers' shoulders. Until last year, it was locked up tight. But this year, it had been changed to a simpler lock. Hadn't that been what allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were the rumors going around. Have you ever seen it, Kuma-chan? I remember it well. I had to go there for something quite a while back. Sorry, I don't really remember. It was locked up so tight it was scary. There were these real heavy bars holding it shut. It was sealed up as good as a bank vault. This here was a very simple and cheap padlock. The lone girl protecting the shrine, Rika Furude, disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock. Why did I not connect that before, that Rika and the mayor collaborated on that? And the fact that they were so willing to say that they were going to take care of the curse so that Shion and Keiichi wouldn't have to deal with it separately. Near the Furude Shrine. Got it. Okay. We can finally progress. I'm still hungry, so... Wait. There's this peanut butter one from the Greek snacks that I opened. Serenata Triplo. Okay. Continue. I'll take like bites here and there. The chocolate's really soft. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. There it is. My fingers trembled with urgency and I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit number.